it's amazing you should say that, because I realized that, Angela, especially that statement earlier on, I heard it very young in my life, that, don't go where you're tolerated, go where you're celebrated. And, more than anything else, that's the principle by which I live my life by, more than anything else. People ask, why am I particularly in Africa? And I'm very passionate about Africa because I'm celebrated there. There's no other reason. God will give you people who celebrate you, and then will open doors in other places as they begin to say. I'm getting offers more recently, and God had spoken to me at the beginning of the year about this, and I'm getting offers from Asia now to come into Asia, and I've resisted it over years, but these are amplified voices that are saying that. And so, sooner or later, God gives you the audience that celebrate you, and you go where you're celebrated, and that. So don't mind the criticism that comes. That's part of the process of you understanding and amplifying your own voice as a leader.
Authenticity begins with awareness. And I think the key thing is we need to find out who we are, and that's the journey. And then the leadership, that once we find out who we are and we embrace our authenticity, it'll then reflect in our leadership. And so in terms of, because I was listening to, all that we've talked about so far, when did you were speaking earlier, the thought that crossed my mind was influence. So a mentor or whoever we're shadowing is influencing us. And then I think at some point we are happy to be a copy for some time, until it dawns on us that, hey, I cannot live life as a copy. And I need to become who God says I am.
Again, going back to the singing and the music analogy illustration I used earlier on is, again, that personal frame of reference. There was a particular period where I used to coach people vocally, and I remember saying to somebody, what song are you going to sing? Someone had just taken on a vocal coaching client. What song is the president? I don't sing other people's songs. I've never sung other people's songs. And I said, well, that's rubbish. When you were a child, you sang Happy Birthday to you, and last I checked, you didn't write that song. You didn't compose that song. So we start somewhere. We start with a frame of reference. It's like writing. Each of us has a distinct handwriting, but you start by copying the A, copying the B, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it. And then over time, something, you talked, the word authenticity, I think, is really powerful. And over time, we suddenly realize, I want to add this to it. Or we'll see something somewhere else. And we don't realize that what we're becoming then is in some regards and excuse the phrase, but it's like a mishmash of different...
I've got to trust in God. I've got to trust in God, because without that trust, there is no deliverance. There is no overcoming. Just going back to that trip in Egypt, the guy said, I'm going to put you in the desert. Now, being in the desert, I thought he was going to put us in the desert and then, he would come back. But he just said, I want you to experience the desert, the nothingness. Now, you have to trust God in that place, because it is a complete nothingness. So I guess at some point he would have just had to come to the realization, I can't do this on my own. Lord, I'm putting all the burdens onto you, because I'm in the desert here and I need to bring people through this wilderness and have complete